would say early in the fight, Canelo, and earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years.
It's going to be interesting, I'll tell you that.
What do you think?
I don't know. You know, it's a big jump to go from 54, which was a step up from 47, right?
Now
so it goes to 54, and now
68?
he's going to 68. That's so much weight.
A lot of weight.
Do you think Terence Crawford can beat Canelo Alvarez?
Yeah, I think he can win.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to win, but I think he can.
Definitely. Okay, so then a little bit of this and that between Canelo and Crawford. I'll give you a list of attributes, and then tell me who do you feel is best in that attribute. First attribute, best jab.
Crawford.
Best defense.
Crawford. Nowadays, Crawford. I would say early in the fight, Canelo, and earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
So who has the best footwork out of the two?
In terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring. But early in his career, he had a problem with that and was much more comfortable counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. Okay. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. You briefly mentioned Canelo's power, so who? I would assume Canelo has the
You'd have to think, unless Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov. So, and Canelo, though he has not stopped anyone in a while, we've seen he's a real puncher at 68.
As far as speed, who has a better speed?
You would imagine Crawford, given the fact that he is the naturally smaller fighter, and I would assume he could maintain that advantage going into this fight.
Last attribute, ring IQ.
They both have sky-high ring IQs. If I have to, Crawford. If you ask me again, there's a reason that I think Crawford's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
Boxing has always thrived on impossible matchups, and this one may be the boldest in decades. Canelo Alvarez versus Terence "Bud" Crawford. Max Kellerman, making his return to ringside commentary with Netflix, has stunned fans with his prediction: Crawford can beat Canelo. It's a statement that cuts against the grain, but Kellerman laid out why this fight is so fascinating. On one side stands Canelo Alvarez, a future Hall of Famer with unmatched power at 168 pounds, a granite chin, and years of experience against the sport's very best. He's fought everyone, from Floyd Mayweather to Gennady Golovkin, and has built a career on walking through opponents with relentless strength. On the other side is Terence Crawford, the most adaptable fighter of his generation. Crawford's genius lies in his ability to adjust mid-fight, dismantling opponents piece by piece until there's nothing left. His jab, defense, footwork, and ring IQ are often ranked among the best in the sport.
I want to bring up the first member of our broadcast team. He is the best boxing analyst in the sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Max Kellerman.
All right, so I know you guys are excited about this fight. but I don't think you understand what a big deal it is. This is a perfect storm. A perfect storm. First of all, Turki Al-Sheikh, we're lucky he happens to be a boxing fan. You know, none of this happens if he doesn't happen to be a boxing fan. It's just none of us are here. Nick Khan, the best in the business. Dana White. Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter of my lifetime. And it's his first ever boxing promotion. So that's who's behind what you're going to see. Do you know who's the best pound for pound fighter in the world? The most recent one. Bud Crawford. Apologies to the monster and Usyk. Bud Crawford has my vote for best pound for pound. Who was the best pound for pound before Bud? Canelo Alvarez, universally recognized that way. But it's not just these two guys, the last two best pound for pound fighters in the world. There haven't been that many. Before Canelo, who do you have? Before Canelo, Floyd or Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather. Before, you could take the lineage back. There have only been, 25 or 30 fighters who ever lived who you said that's the best pound for pound fighter in the world. These are two of them, the last two. And they're going to fight in Las Vegas on September 13th. Canelo is 62-2 with 2 draws. 62-2-2. So was Marvin Hagler when Sugar Ray Leonard moved up to fight him, and they produced one of the biggest spectacles in the history of boxing. This fight is a perfect storm. I could not be more excited to be a part of it.
Skill for skill, most of the boxes lean toward Crawford. But what Canelo brings is size, strength, and a proven record at the higher weight classes. At super middleweight, he's learned to cut off the ring, stalk opponents, and impose his physicality. Crawford will need every ounce of speed and intelligence to offset that. For Kellerman, the bottom line is clear: Crawford is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world right now. Before him, that honor belonged to Canelo. Now the last two men to hold that title are set to face each other in Las Vegas. It's a rare kind of fight, the kind that carries history in its DNA. Kellerman compared it to when Sugar Ray Leonard moved up to challenge Marvin Hagler, two legends colliding in a battle that became one of the most unforgettable spectacles in boxing. Canelo enters the ring with a record of February 2nd, 62, a resume that speaks to both longevity and dominance. Crawford, undefeated and riding a wave of acclaim after dismantling Errol Spence Jr., steps into uncharted territory by moving up in weight. This is why so many are calling it a perfect storm. The greatest promoter of modern combat sports, Dana White, is backing it. Netflix is broadcasting it to the world. And two of the last universally recognized pound-for-pound kings are about to settle it in the ring. On September 13, 2025, in Las Vegas, Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford won't just fight for belts. They'll fight for history, and for the right to be remembered as the defining fighter of this era. The debate: can Crawford really beat Canelo? As the countdown to September 13 continues, the boxing world is split down the middle on whether Terence "Bud" Crawford can overcome the size, power, and experience of Canelo Alvarez.